Had a goof on the first video. I forgot to show you the seed inside and explain the seed stuff. So I'm going to start off where I should have started off on the first video. I'm sorry about that. Okay, I walked out in the woods, and within 5 minutes, I pretty much almost got a coffee can full. That's pretty much all you're going to need for a day. And I've been showing you the videos on acorns and stuff, and how you would have your acorns already and stuff. And then you got the rest of the week to do this. 5 minutes of picking, and I literally got this is 3 cups of grapes. Now I could have sat there, for a long time and picked, probably about 100 cups of this before the day was over with, and I could dry that up and do whatever I want with it. But the best thing to do, I have pockets, so I use these as the baskets and stuff. I don't have to have a basket. I have pockets on my pants. That's why I like Columbia pants. You have these spare pockets that you can just load up grapes. You can literally fill the whole entire bowl. A big mixing bowl with 2 pockets here, and pockets everywhere else in my pants. But key characteristics of a grape compared to the poisonous ones or the peppery ones like the pepper vine. Pepper vine is edible, but it's going to be peppery and you're not going to like it. And it's going to have a leaf pattern that is like a compound leaf pattern, but it's going to, the berries are extremely shiny. They got a little thing on the end of it. But as you know, it's perfectly round, just like every other grape. It doesn't have any apex thing or sore like you see on a blueberry. That's where it was joined. But when you pop this open, you're going to quickly find the skin is extremely leathery, and inside it's going to be like that greenish color. And you're going to pick that open, and this naturally comes off from the fruit that's inside. Now you could take this right here and actually get the coloring out of it and make some grape juice or for the coloring. But you would want to use this as well. But I like to dry these and just powder them up, and I have like a grape powder that I can make cheese or whatever of, and they dry pretty quick. Very, very delicious. But it's not like a grape like you buy in the grocery store. It's a little bit chewier, a lot more tangier than a grape. Probably about 4 times the tanginess of a grape. But what you're going to do is you're going to go in here and you're going to squeeze these seeds out. This one only had 2. Sometimes they have 1 seed, sometimes they have 5, but 3 is really the norm. I don't know if you can see that or not. But what you're going to do is you're going to end up with this green skin, and it's very tasty. You can dry that up too. But what you're going to see, I don't know if it's like I kind of like to say it looks like a pear. It's got a pear shape or a teardrop shape, and it has a line running through the center of it, and it has a real sharp point on the other side, which is kind of hard to see in this video. See right there, you can kind of get the idea. There's a line running through the center. There's a teardrop shape, heart shape, or whatever, or a pear shape. And when you get multiple seeds like that, you have every characteristic I just showed you with the leaf pattern and all. You have a grape, and so it's totally edible. Now, the seeds, a lot of people throw away, but they're finding out grapeseed oil is probably the most highest antioxidant known to the world. It blows olive oil out of the water, and people are just chunking these out. Eat them. They're not that hard. It's kind of like chewing down on a roasted sunflower seed. But you don't want to waste that. There's a lot of protein in there, carbohydrates in that seed. There's fats in there from the oil. They keep it alive out in the woods. Don't spit that stuff out. Talk about poisonous plants. Like you got the cup seed, and when you pull the seed out, It'll literally look like a cup. It'll be round and it has a little indentation in it that looks like a cup. That's why they call it cup seed. That's poisonous. Chunk it out. You have one that has another type of cup seed that'll look like a snail shell. And if you ever smash it, it's going to have that little spiral shape that looks like a snail. Chunk it. You got a poisonous plant there. Moon seed, you're going to smash it. It's going to be this black seed that looks like a crescent-shaped moon. You know you got a moon seed. Take it, chunk it. It's poisonous. Don't eat that. And so once you figure out most of those, if you get a large single seed in there, you know to stay away from that one as well too. It's not a grape. So anywhere from 1 to 5 seeds that kind of tear shape with that center line running through it, you know you got yourself a grape. You got the tendrils. Tendrils are really what grabs onto the bushes and stuff so they can climb. And so when you have all those characteristics, you know you have an edible grape. Now there's many shapes of leaves. There's leaves that are like this big, down to this little muscadine leaf. That's really this big. Very. If you live in the South, anywhere from roughly Virginia all the way through Florida, almost to Texas, and you don't know what a muscadine is, then you haven't been living here in the South that long. And I mean, this even goes up in the New York area and stuff like that. But you start getting into what they call frost grapes, silver grapes, fox grapes. I mean, there's all different types. And so, but they always have the same purpose. You can all do the same thing with it and stuff. Okay, before I forgot to show you this, but before I actually go and dry this, I want to show you. Here's my dried flour from the acorn that I dipped in the last thing. And say you made your little cookies and stuff, and you wanted to, you didn't want to make cookies out of the whole thing, so you take a little bit of this. And what the Indians would do is they would mash their fruit up, and basically coat it with the acorn, and it ends up being like a little mush. Okay, this is what you would do. You would carry the acorn in a bag, and when you came across to a campsite or something like that, you just whip that out. That's already processed, and you end up with kind of a little doughy, nutty granola type of thing. And you just take this. You would just take this and just eat it. And man, I'm telling you what, blueberries, persimmons, you name it, whatever fruit you come across, mix it with that oak. You got protein, that oak acorn. You got protein, carbohydrates, you got fats, and you got vitamins. Very simple food to make. Get you real far in the woods. Way much more simpler food. A lot more tastier. I mean, this literally tastes like candy. I mean, it's extremely. Okay, there's a lot of different ways to do with the juice, but you could just drink it and just have a nice good drink, like I showed you when I was squeezing them in my mouth. But say you gather a lot of juice and you want to make jams or whatever, you can boil the juice from the fruits in the pan to make the juice without squeezing, like I said. But say I got all this extra juice, and in the woods, you're going to need a pot to do this. And you can make a pot out of a bark basket, bark that you can use. That's not going to be bitter once you boil it. And you would just literally put hot rocks in here. And what'll happen is the sugars will actually start to adhere to the rocks, or they'll actually boil this. But you can sit here on high heat, and all we're going to do is constitute this down until it gets real thick. Right now it's watery. And what we're going to do is just keep boiling down until it almost turns into a sappy sugar or syrup. Okay, when you're boiling this down, I don't know if you can see this correctly or not, but when you're boiling this down, you're going to see a scum that comes up to the surface. You want to get as much of that scum as you want off of there. It's bitter scum. It's not going to be tasty, and it's going to ruin the product. It's going to be trashy. You can see, if you can see, that's what it looks like, and you want to knock that off. Anytime, and we're reducing the water out of here, so this is going to keep getting thicker. Eventually, it'll just turn into a syrup. Okay, you don't need maple syrup in the woods when you can just boil down fruits. Yeah, you're going to have to gather a lot just to get this, but the waste product can be used as a dry product. Um, Spatula in the woods. You just take your knife, put it on a piece of a board, a log, and just hammer it through with another stick. You got a flat piece of wood, shave it down real thin. You got your spatula. Spoon, you just basically carve out. Okay, anybody that's done sugar, jelly or whatever, they're going to know the bubbles. And when you get certain types of bubbles, that's going to let you know that you're getting closer and closer to a sugar source. And the type of bubbles can either tell you you're getting jam, you just made syrup, or you just made candy, all depending on the bubbles. And normally, as you watch, the bubbles, they were big. It was a rolling bowl, which would have just been a liquid juice that sterilized, and you could have stored in a jar with some citric acid or something like pine needles and be your citric acid. And all of a sudden, you have juice. But here, it's boiling down, and I'm losing a lot of water. And you got to think, well, what's the purpose of this? Well, you think it like this: maple syrup roughly takes about 20 gallons of sugared maple to make 1 gallon of syrup. So this is just a couple of cups. This is 3 cups or 4 cups of juice. So I'm not going to get that much sugar, but I'm showing you the process. If you had gathered 100 pounds of this and you squeeze it down and you add 20 gallons of juice, you can literally boil this down into a pure syrup of any sort. Any kind of fruit that has liquid in it, that has sugar in it, high sugar content in it, will turn into a syrup. And say, like, this is 10% sugar out of the juice constitute. I mean, once you juice it, we know there's like, say, 10% sugar. Well, you're going to have 10 times as much fruit to make this syrup to make 100%. So if you're gathering 4 cups and you need that amount of sugar, you're going to have to do 10 times more 4 cups to get just a couple of cups of sugar, and so or syrup. So it's a little bit of effort, but you know, if you really wanted this in the wild, you can do this. And yes, it's going to take a little bit of time. That's pretty much what the Indians did, or they boiled it in birch baskets with the rocks, pulled the rocks out, let it sit in the basket. They took the basket upside down, popped it out, and they ended up with blocks. You see maple syrup shaped into like maple leaves or little trees or whatever, and they sell it on lollipops and stuff. That's pretty much what they did. They formed it in a birch bark mold or basket mold or whatever. The more I cook with this, the smaller the bubbles are getting. It's actually getting thick, as you can see. That was liquid. Now see, it's turning into like a fibrous thing. So I know the sugar is getting there. You can actually lick the side of this and it be like candy right there. But I'm just constantly boiling this down, and it's getting lower and lower and lower. This almost has no water in it. It's starting to bubble up like you would see in a pancake bubble. And that's letting me know I am almost done there. Okay, we're getting to the point where it's almost good. You gotta watch it. You don't want to burn it, because if you burn it, it ends up being caramelized sugar. You see, I'm pouring it off. That was liquid, folks. And make sure you watch part 3, because I'm going to show you how to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with nothing in the woods that you had to bring. So make sure you watch part 3.